The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a groundbreaking gameplay experience that pushes the boundaries of what we thought was possible to do within a video game. Now, however, nearly half a year after the development on the expansion pass was wrapped up, we might be in for a brand new Zelda-themed game, in either 2D or 3D, or a more ambitious remake.
As well, the modding community at the Zelda Conversion project has made Princess Zelda fully playable in Breath of the Wild, which we have been able to get access to thanks to Elgato Gaming and Troll Squad 57. 2018 is also the year that Ocarina of Time turns 20, and when Skyward Sword could finally get its HD remake, to conclude the Age of Zelda remakes.
Here we are. After a mainline Zelda presence at every E3 since 2012, we might be in for the first year where we go through the entire video presentation and treehouse without mentioning an upcoming mainline Zelda title or expansion for this one. And to be honest, we don't really know how to feel about this. On one side, a year break from Zelda might be okay now that Breath of the Wild Link, and most likely Princess Zelda, will be in the new Super Smash Bros. Game.
Still, the origins of this channel is inseparably tied to The Legend of Zelda, and if we don't see any reveals this year for either a new game or at least a remake, we'll be a little disappointed compared to last year, where we out of nowhere got the first details for the Champions Ballot. So let's take a look at the different possibilities, and then as a reward for staying to the end, we have a very nice surprise and announcement for you somewhere in the later half of this video. Still with us? Then let's get the different possibilities presented.
The first and most obvious option must be tied to The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which turns 20 this fall. Everyone expects something, or at least a reference to the Zelda game that changed everything, and the most probable announcement that we will see is the reveal of the Nintendo 64 Mini with a heavy emphasis on the fact that you can once again play Ocarina of Time, the way it was intended to be played on a big TV and with a proper Nintendo 64 controller. And you know what? There was an expansion planned for this game outside the Master Quest, namely Ura Zelda, which could be the N64 Classic's Star Fox 2 Bombshell. Even though we have to play it with the crude Nintendo 64 polygons, no one will complain, as this is an announcement that will make the entire Zelda fan community shed tears of joy. Well, it is either that or an actual HD remake of Ocarina of Time from top to bottom. We haven't seen Grezzo working on a Zelda project since Triforce Heroes, Majora's Mask 3D, and obviously Ocarina of Time 3D. Now with the Switch, it might be time for the first full HD remake of the first 3D Zelda.
Call us crazy, but what remakes are left for Nintendo when it comes to 3D Zelda? Skyward Sword, which we will get back to. But if there's one game that would truly steal the show, then it would be Ocarina of Time HD, a full-blown remake of the game on the scale of the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Well, the last one wasn't the best example, but you get the point. A remake of Ocarina of Time that isn't in 240p and with fully controllable analog camera would be the big bombshell of the Nintendo's E3 video presentation or Spotlight. But as previously mentioned, the N64 Classic Mini might be a hurdle on the way to make this dream a reality. So what other Nintendo Switch options are there? Specifically, 2. A brand new title or a remake of Skyward Sword.
Similarly to 2015, we were told that Zelda Wii U would not be shown, and we all braced for an E3 presentation without any Zelda titles. And then boom, out of nowhere, we got Triforce Heroes. Now we know how despised this game is, in particular for being placed in the official Legend of Zelda timeline. But that doesn't mean that whatever new title announced at this E3 will be as underwhelming. In fact, this might be the perfect moment to confirm that the 2D Zelda team is alive and well, and ready to deliver a traditional Zelda experience in contrast to Breath of the Wild, to show that perhaps the bold moves in that game can be combined with established staples to set the groundwork for an even better 3D Full HD Zelda a few years from now. This is exactly what the Zelda franchise needs. Another classic Zelda adventure that combines some of the elements found in Breath of the Wild with normal dungeons, puzzle solving, and so on. Just to show the main Zelda team at Nintendo EPD that combining old with new can set the foundations for an even better game than Breath of the Wild. The only problem we see for such a reveal is that a 2D Zelda adventure often follows 2 years after the mainline 3D ones. We will see if this pattern continues, which could leave us hanging until 2019. But if not, then this could definitely be one of the great highlights of this E3.
Then we have the matter of a Skyward Sword remake. Yes, this is probably the most divisive Zelda to date. Many hate it, many love it, and some just see its many strengths and flaws and think it needs another chance to deliver what was promised back in 2010. Namely a fluid, story-heavy and dungeon-based motion control Zelda experience, which works without greater issues. Imagine Skyward Sword in silky smooth HD, but with less gimmicky motion control segments, including making the left wing controllable by a stick, and the A button being used instead of waving your hands around. This game may be flawed like no other Zelda, but with the right amount of reworking, especially for the motion controls, to only be tied to combat and solving certain puzzles, this game could become much more than it is today. Oh yeah, and fire, obviously. Namely a Zelda game with excellent story and gameplay. How haven't we really been able to combine the two yet?
Let's face it, Breath of the Wild had the by far most impressive gameplay in any Zelda game to date. But the storytelling was the game's weakest link. Chopped and spread out in pieces throughout Hyrule is what we would call it outside of the first few hours on the Great Plateau, and obviously the climax. In many ways, there isn't much story in the present as Link has one main task from King Bosphoramus Hyrule, defeating Ganon. No, the true story of Breath of the Wild, and where by far most of the voiced dialogue takes place, is within the memories. These brief bits from events 100 years ago that Link had to recollect to realize his past are instrumental to understanding the close bond he shares to Princess Zelda and the reasons for why Calamity Ganon has to be defeated. The only problem was the lack of attachment to the characters, as they never appear outside of cutscenes. What is worse is that these segments could have a much more lasting impact if they were supplied with gameplay sequences where you, within a bound environment, play as Link, Zelda, Daruk, Rivali, Urbosa, or Mipha. This goes in particular for Princess Zelda, who should have been playable within some past segments or scenes that take place either right after or during a battle.
They could just rebuild a bound portion and unfold past events in a similar fashion to the series sections in The Witcher 3. Say that you play as Zelda in the past, fighting monsters on your way to the Spring of Wisdom, Courage and Power and so on. And then you might say, that would ruin the non-linearity of the game and the memories. No, it would actually enhance it, as all these playable sections take place in the past and do not really change how you recollect the memories.
The point is, Princess Zelda should have been playable within some of the memories, and one of our greatest grievances was that we didn't get to play as or alongside her in a post-game DLC. Luckily, there is hope outside of Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, through the Princess Zelda Mod by the Zelda Conversion project, where you can take the battle against Calamity Ganon as the heir to the throne of Hyrule herself.
And thanks to our recent partnership with Elgato Gaming, we now have the capture cards, cam links, stream decks, and green screens needed to make the most amazing Princess Zelda Breath of the Wild playthrough, since we haven't really done a Breath of the Wild playthrough on the channel. And get ready for a great hype train of a whole new dimension as we build up to Princess Zelda and Breath of the Wild Link's inclusion into Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Switch. And we begin this great odyssey of ours, which will go before E3, beyond E3, and of course during the summer.
We begin this Monday at 5 PM ET from the Shrine of Resurrection. Be there to see Zelda waking up for her great quest.
We are very grateful for Elgato to supply all of this equipment. As you can see, we have a green screen here, and it's so easily adjustable. You just pull it down, and there you have it. It's so convenient. And once again, thank you so much, Elgato, for supplying us. This will make our live streams, our videos, and our production so much more better, as it will simply diminish the half a globe that is separating me from Joseph.
So make sure to like this video and comment below on whether we will see any Zelda announcements at this E3, and if you are new, make sure to subscribe and press that shiny notification bell to stay updated on when we upload new Nintendo Switch, Smash, Pokemon, or Zelda Switch videos like this one.
Finally, we want to give a great shout out to Troll Squad 57 for supplying the Princess Zelda Breath of the Wild mod made by the Zelda Conversion project, and Qnando.
Less than 9,000 subscribers separates us from the big 150k, and if we reach that number by June 15th, we will host a giveaway with 15 free annual subscriptions for Nintendo Switch Online. Finally, we want to thank all our gracious patrons, including royal producer Kenyatta Ali, for their generous contributions to the realm. You can join the Order of the CR Pin by heading over to patreon.com/commonrealm. Until the next video, make sure to check out one of these two awesome videos.